I woke up looking to see respect between people, but I see craziness. People fighting, putting each other down. People saying they love God, guns, and greedy golden idols. Does your God love guns more than the lives of children? Is everybody sleepwalking? For the love of God.
We bounce back with power and saying no, there's got to be something deeper, and all you got to do is say, well, look in the eyes of your daughter. Remember the smile of your grandmother. Listen to a little music. It could come from the vanilla side with the Beatles. It could come from the chocolate side with Muddy Waters or Luther Vandross, or it could come from Curtis Mayfield. But listen to that music. Let it soak your soul and say, isn't that touching something deeper than just the titillation of the protons and neutrons that are bouncing up against your body? Something else is happening. Now, I do believe that secular brothers and sisters, they have access to this. Chekhov, who was my favorite literary artist of all time, he was agnostic. I'm a Christian. But he got more love in him than most Christians I know. But he's a secular brother. Prophetic Jewish folk, the Rabbi Heschel. Prophetic Muslim. I don't exist without Malcolm X. I know your relation to Malcolm. I've seen your magnificent reflections on Malcolm. I don't exist without Malcolm. He's Muslim to the core. I'm Christian to the core. We go hand in hand. And Bedker, the great Dalit freedom fighter, he's Buddhist. Bell Hooks, my dear sister, she's Buddhist. It cuts across religion, culture, gender, race, but that also goes the other way, which is to say what? The gangsters and the thugs and the cowards come in all colors. We bounce back. Wordsworth will provide that with you, even as the great romantic poet in lyrical ballad. It's something within nature that's beyond nature. Yes! Then what is it? Ineffable, you mentioned it. That raid on the ineffable that T.S. Eliot talks about in his poetry. What is the raid on the ineffable? The vulnerability of each of us to wrestling with meaning that goes beyond the evidence, and we all need some structures of meaning and structures of feeling and structures of perception that allows us to live a life. To live a life in such a way that all of our efforts were not just in vain. It had impact on people. It had impact on us. And that's a beautiful thing. And it's endless process. We fall on our faces, we bounce back. We fall on our faces, and we bounce back. That's part of the beauty of it all. We bounce back. Be in contact with the humanity of folk. And that's why, again, though, brother, voices like yourself, man, it's a beautiful thing to behold, because, when you talk about hope itself has been co-opted by the market. So there's a sense in which we need a moratorium on talking about hope, but we need to stress on being a hope. You see, you are a hope in your example. You don't need to talk about hope. You got to embody the hope. You enact the hope. People can see the sunshine flowing from your soul. That's what it's all about. We grew up in church. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That's what they talk about. I'm going to let it shine. Now, I was in Shiloh Baptist Church. We talked every Sunday. If the kingdom of God is within you, then everywhere you go, you ought to leave a little heaven behind. What kind of heaven behind are we leaving? You can be secular and leave heaven behind. You can be agnostic and leave a heaven behind. Indeed, because that heaven has to do what? Something tied to a love and a joy. Something tied to a community, a conviviality, a fellowship and a sistership that accents the best of who we are as human beings, not just as tied into the identity categories that are weaponized by neoliberal policies that reinforce careerism and opportunism and make the empire more colorful from top to bottom and make the hierarchy more colorful and more gender inclusive. Yes, we agree with that. But if it's the same system, if it's still centralized power, if it's still hierarchy imposing itself from below, then folk are still catching hell. That's the kind of voices we need. That's the kind of movements that we need. And thank God, we all haven't been completely smothered. We have been completely erased and eliminated. We bounce back. We bounce back. We bounce back. We bounce back.